saying goes that your network is your net worth. So obviously, if you're growing your network, you want to make sure that that leads to growing your net worth. How the sausage is made, 101. Cool, Jermaine.
Yeah.
Welcome to another conversation that Jermaine and I are having. We're so glad that you can join us. I'm Richard Zainot, and that is
Jermaine Bull.
Jermaine Bull.
How's it,
Welcome.
Richard?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Yourself?
Good, good. Nah, okay, Richard. Okay, thank you.
So we've had quite a few conversations now, starting to build up some momentum. So let's get into the topic for today. What are we talking about?
We are talking about how to grow your network.
Wow. How to grow your network. A lot of saying goes that your network is your net worth. So obviously, if you're growing your network, you want to make sure that that leads to growing your net worth. Awesome. So before we get going with networks and net worths, the reason why this is an important topic, we touched on a little bit about sales in one of the previous conversations, and the easiest way to gain new sales, to get new customers, is to go to people you know. And a golden rule with sales is people buy from people they know, like, and trust. So growing a network is important because it will help with that. Also, we spoke a little bit about, the way that a network opens up conversations for you, so that when you need help, let's say you need advice for like a lawyer, or you need advice from an accountant, or you need advice from an IT person. I'm in my home, I'm often sort of challenged with I need like a builder's help, because I do a lot of DIY work, and I'm always wondering, I wonder, like, if I should move this wall, because if the house may just fall down. So having someone to talk to is really great, to prevent that wall falling down, which really just means it lowers your overall expenses. You want to be careful not to walk a line of trying to get stuff for free all the time. You want to support other businesses. It's like people coming to you and wanting free services all the time in your business. So you want to be cautious about that. So
Yeah.
Jermaine and I got a conversation for you today. Let's talk about it. So Jermaine, just before we get into actual tips for our audience, what kind of, do you have any stories relating to your network, and what has that meant for you? What has it done for you?
Yeah, I think we've been fortunate in a way that over the last, I'd say, couple of years, we've never really had to go outside of our existing network. We've always been referred from within, and what we've done well is making sure if someone within our current circle or network refers us to another client, which is obviously outside of our network, we see that as a completely new avenue of potential revenue streams that might come. So we were very fortunate in a way. I mean, you've done it several times with referring us to clients that we've basically engaged with now. So yeah, it's a very important topic of conversation now, Richard. So yeah.
Yeah, great stuff. So I mean, just in that, what Jermaine's talking about, there, saying that his network is led to business. So just by us knowing each other and talking to each other, when I was meeting with clients, and I could clearly see that I'm not able to provide them with a service or solution, but that doesn't mean that I must sort of forget about them and not pass that on. Immediately I was like, hey, I can't help you, but I know somebody that can. Can I connect you with that person? And I put them in contact with them. And that's led to a business for Jermaine. And similarly, Jermaine has done the same for us. There'd be, a client of theirs that has a particular need. Sure, Jermaine can sit and try and do it himself, but that's not his business. And so what he does is he reaches out It says, I've got someone in my network. I've got someone in my network that is great for this and can provide you with a solution. And that doesn't mean that that you don't you don't vet the person that's going to do the work, that you lose out on business completely. You may not get business for that client, but it doesn't mean that you lose out completely. So the network wealth grows.
Yes.
And I can always come back to you sort of at a later stage. So having a network is a great thing.
Yeah, Richard, it's something actually that you've actually done very, very well. I can remember 2 years ago, you've had this concept of yes, this is your particular skill set, but when you pitch for imagination, you've always gone in there with the intention that if there's a finance avenue. Because you never know if that person's got a need for something else, and we've done that very well, and we've actually modeled our entity or our process based on that approach. So yes, we accountants, and yes, we're going to pitch for a piece of work, but during those conversations, you quickly realize that the client needs much more than just the advice that we can offer them, but they actually need a bit of software specifically designed for them that obviously we can't offer, but we got someone within our network that we can certainly refer, that we know can do an awesome job. And just off the bat, you already start with it's not that you got to gain the client's confidence, and just by you referring us or we referring you, the client's already got that degree of comfort that I won't just refer anyone because I've almost vetted you already. So by default, the client's already got that sort of ease that I'm not just sending anyone to them.
Cool. Yeah, that's a fantastic advantage. It's a great point, Jermaine. So having a network and being referred to by someone in your network immediately ups your trust. So that barrier to entry with a potential client, and I've had that happen not just with Sile but also with other people in my network, is the client just starts talking to you about solving their problem. There's no vetting that happens because of that referral that came through to them. They know, like, and trust Jermaine. Jermaine recommends me. I don't have to go through a long sales process. It's just a conversation like, oh, Jermaine said you can help me, please. Here's my problem. So that's the great part, a great advantage about having a network, and you want to expand your network. So let's get into some practical tips about how people, if they've got a small network now, or they don't really have a network, they don't know how to grow their network. What are the practical tips that people can do? Jermaine, what's your first tip? What do you have for
tip one? I would obviously everyone wants to go in and sort of seal the deal, and I think you've mentioned it earlier, where you might not sign that sale immediately, but go in, give the best pitch that you can, and if nothing else, and this has happened to me before actually, you plant that seed with that client, potential client, right? That potential client might not necessarily sign on the dotted line, but further down the line, there might be traction. And what you don't realize is that person will maybe have a conversation with someone else, and that other party the need might be greater there. So go in, give your best pitch, and it's don't feel too disheartened if no sale or you don't seal the deal. So just keep that positive mindset from the start.
If I hear you correctly, so what you're also saying is that just because someone doesn't buy into you immediately, or potential customer, they actually become part of your network because there's been some engagement.
Correct.
You sort of don't write them off. Like, make sure that you have them and you include them in conversations. Just following on them, one of my tips would be, don't only try to sell to your customers, try and provide value. Now, I know we talk about the anything in our circles, in where I look at sort of business and I look at opportunities, and I'm always learning. Something that you often hear is like, you got to provide value. Oh goodness, and it becomes a little bit much, because you're like, but I am like what else can I do? But things that where is of value is, for example, if you hear about something, if you had a conversation with a potential client and that client mentioned something to you that you may not have a network of people to solve that particular problem, right? But you met with them and they're not really interested in your services. 2-3 weeks down the line, maybe a month down the line, you do meet someone that could help this person. Refer that person on. Set up that conversation. Say, hey, Bob, I know we chatted a few weeks ago. You mentioned this issue with me. At the time, I didn't have someone that I felt could service your needs, but subsequently, I did meet John. John's a great guy, or Sally is a great girl who I believe can help you. Can I set up that conversation? Also, that's sort of a side tip, is if you are connecting and growing your network, never just automatically include everyone in that email. It says, hey, I'm just trying to connect you guys. And always tell the person you want to connect with them and ask them for permission. That's a great way of getting their buy-in and their trust from you, to see sort of, if everything, if they're willing to make that connection.
Yeah, Richard, I think also on the flip side to that, I've seen a lot of mistakes that some of our clients, especially the newer ones, and when I say newer, they've been in existence probably for a couple of months. They're ready to hit the market hard. The common mistake they make is, so now you've referred them, and so, like we said, they've now already, the potential trust that we've developed with that client, is there. And then they just want to get the biggest deal possible. They don't think further than that potential client, and the second one that they might refer you to, and the third one, and the fourth one. You don't have to, charge R1 million because you got that one referral now. You need to think further than that connection of yours. Because that person is going to refer you to some of their clients, and those clients are going to refer you to some of their clients, and it's a ripple effect.
Yeah.
So common errors some of my clients made was basically that, where I referred them, they got the deal, and then the client will pay for that service, but they're not going to bother referring them to any of their people in their network or their circles.
Yeah.
So just be careful of that.
Yeah. So that's great, Jermaine. So you're saying is, I'm hearing two things there. It's bite small. You can eat longer. So especially out of someone that was referred to you. So bite small, you can eat longer, which is, don't try and get the big deal straight away. If that easy line, obviously go for it. But if it's if the kind sort of wants to build some trust, is deliver a small package first, and then you can go for the larger,
100%.
The big buying contract. But try and go in small. And then the other thing is buy from that client. Even if that's a client of yours. For most of my clients, I actually buy their products. So
100%.
there's some of them that I can't, but Fairview Wines, for example, is a client. I buy Fairview Wines products. I go into store. I have some of their wines. I have their cheese. So I buy their different products, as well as like Woolworths. I buy Woolworths products. So just through natural course of life, I say, oh, this is a client of mine. I will buy their products. So. Because you're expecting them to buy from you, you need to buy from them, and it's the same. If you expect, which is my other advice, my point is, be open. If you want to get referrals, you have to give referrals. It's just how it works. The more you give, the more you'll get, but it takes time. So try and give referrals with no other objective other than giving the referral. Don't expect something back. If you're going to do it with an expectation, you're going to be disappointed. I had someone reach out to me through network. They'd known someone, so they were referred on to me. And this guy actually showed up for this meeting. We had a coffee together. I was like, yeah, cool, no problem. I was actually in Cape Town for that. I just happened to be in Cape Town for business. And so we got together, we had a coffee. And he kept telling me that he wants to help me with my business. And the more I spoke to him, he had gotten into business that had been in operation for about 9 months. And he wanted to help me with my business. And I said, what is? He says, no, maybe we can share clients. I'm like, okay. So there was a lot of practical stuff with that. Like, firstly, like it's very hard to sell somebody else's product when you're trying to sell your own product. It's even harder when you just started out. 9-month-old business is not very long in the game. And I said, I've been in business for 12 years. Like, I've got a client book that's healthy, and I'm trying to understand what it is you really want from me. So off the bat, like, that just pushed low trust with me, because I didn't feel that he genuinely wanted to help me. I felt that he was masking helping me with something that he wanted instead, because our client base was his client base. Finance leaders, CFOs, CEOs, finance managers, finance directors. Those are typically our clients, and that's someone that, in terms of their company and what they were doing, that's who he wanted to meet with. It would have been a lot better for him to actually say, hey, our business is new. I'm looking to reach out to people that has this client base to try and make it easier for me. I would have said, okay, no problem. But showing up with the, I'm here to help you, but actually he was the one that needs help, it lowers the trust better. You're asking me to refer you on to my clients that have built trust over the years, and you're showing up with a little bit shady. So that's kind of a no-no. So that the point again is be open, give.
Be open.
Give.
I mean, I think
to give.
Rich. I mean, I don't know if you've experienced this. I certainly have, and it just adds to this point that we just made now. Is there is something called a bad referral as well. So I make a similar example. If I referred a client, and the client charges an arm and a leg, so he doesn't want those smaller bites, because he only thinks as far as that specific client, and the client engages, pays him his fee, and off he goes. And then obviously afterwards, the client comes back to me and says, Jermaine, I don't think I can refer that client, because he was just out there to make as much money off me as he can and as he could, and then he was off. So there is a negative side to referring a client. You got to be on the same. The mindset's got to be the same for all parties concerned, I guess. Because you can't have your existing client coming back to you, and then with negative feedback because it was a bad referral. The only reason why he probably just went ahead with everything, because he trusts you, and he's got a good relationship with you. So you don't want to tarnish that. So when you vet someone and when you refer someone, it has to be an extension of yourself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's great. So I mean, those are a few fantastic pieces of information. Let's say somebody doesn't have any network at the moment, or they think that they don't have any network. What would your advice be to that person now?
So obviously, yes, if I can use imagination and sales as an example, yes, we got different fields and different target markets, but not really. And it's something that you did very well as well, where you've actually collaboration. I want to touch on that as a point, Richard. Is you in IT, we in finance, but the clients is very similar. And we've done a collaboration many times, and obviously we continue doing it, where you go in and you go in with a mindset to pitch, but there's other baskets that you can tackle if the questions come up from your client. So I know it's a bit difficult for newer companies to do collaborations because they're new into the market. They call it barrier to entry is a bit more, probably a bit steeper. But yeah, just latch on to guys that's been down that road. I mean,
Yeah.
accountants.
So
Our clients are all intertwined, interlinked, and it's like you mentioned earlier, Richard. We always refer from within. IT, estate agents, construction. Do you know someone in that field? Yes, go here, because
yeah.
if the money stays in our network, it means clients can pay our bills. We've picked up an existing client, so it's just a circle basically. So yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's very true. So so I think my bit of advice for anyone, if you're starting out your network now, is that you probably have a bigger network than you think you do. So you have to talk about your business to different people. Like, don't be afraid. Talk to people. Don't not talk to anyone. Tell people about your business and what it is that you're doing and what the value that you can provide. Because that will grow your network. So right now we're living through days of COVID, and when being online is important. So whether you like it or not, the people's attention is online at the moment. So you've got to be online, be on social networks, comment on other people, not negative comments. So make sure it's encouragement, even if, say keep going, reach out. Eventually you'll see that they'll start looking at your posts and commenting on your posts and sharing your posts. I mean, that happens to me now. And on LinkedIn, when I played around on LinkedIn in the beginning and kind of didn't really take it seriously. And then I decided to take it a little bit more seriously and gained a lot of traction from it. And it's kind of give me some authority. So when I speak about a subject now on these social platforms, it's taken with a lot more a fact rather than just sort of opinion at the moment. It doesn't mean it's always like that, but I mean, I have a lot more leverage to maneuver, and it takes time to maneuver that. So get onto social networks if you're not there already, or piggyback, and piggyback of other people who are what you aspire to, comment, promote, share their work, and that will grow your network as well. Cool. Yeah. So that's my tips about growing your network. I think you've got to make sure that you are open to networking. You've got to, bite small so you can, have many more bites. You take longer to get full. Give more than what you are receiving, or at least try to give without expectation of receiving. It will just strengthen things for you. And that make sure that when you collaborate, so you're collaborating, and just because one idea of a collaboration doesn't work out doesn't mean you must stop collaborating. Just try every day and keep trying. The right things will click. I think between Jermaine and I and Sile and Imagination, we've tried so many times, and we're still trying, and there's still some things we can't get quite right, but we don't give up. We just carry on and keep ourselves cool. The next thing, and that's I think will grow your network. Jermaine, any more advice?
Yeah, well, just to add what you just said about the give without without expectation. So for me, I see a lot of people, it's all about IP. You got to protect your IP. Yes, you got to protect your IP, but guys out there, clients out there, they if you engage with them, just give off yourself. Just give as much knowledge and much information to that client to process. why they should go with you or not. And if they don't go with you, I promise you, that seed is planted. I promise you. I've had a lot of times where people said no. And then 3 months later, that same client would phone and say, we, at the time we said no, we thought we could do it ourselves, but we need you guys now. So, you must be in it for the long haul.
Yeah, often when I hear clients saying no, I just hear not right now.
Yeah.
So, or what's important. So just a bit of sales advice. No means I don't understand the value you are proposing to me.
Yes.
I'm not quite sure how to process this. My defense is to say no. So just remember that in part of sales,
Richard,
no doesn't actually exist. It just means you haven't been able to equate the value of what you're offering.
Yeah, I normally leave those type of meetings feeling very positive, thinking, nah, it's done.
Okay.
I'm gonna probably get that client a couple of months down the line. So, like you said, no doesn't necessarily mean in sales terms that it's over. So, just stick at it.
That's right. Cool. So thanks everyone. I think that's been some amazing tips. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. We're trying to sort of grow an audience. If you think that this is a conversation that maybe someone in your network would like to hear or needs to hear or just enjoy listening to, go ahead and share that. And if you have any questions, please leave us a comment so that either Jermaine or I can come and get back to you, answer that question. And maybe we'd even grow our network and connect with you, start sharing your content and a little bit about your business. Fantastic. Awesome. 100%. Thank you. My name is Richard Zainnout, and that has I'll get it right someday. That has been
Conversations with Jermaine.
All right, cool.
Cool.
Thanks.
Cheers.